You on the phone? Commissioner Gibbon, are you on the phone?
I am, Jim.
Okay. We now have
All right.
3 commissioners I can take. We need a
Move
motion.
to reconvene county commission?
Yep.
Or Board of Equalization,
We
excuse
need
me.
a motion to convene as a Board of Equalization. Commissioner Poppins made the motion. Commissioner Gibbon, do we have a second?
I'll second it, yes.
Okay. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are now the Board of Equalization for Lincoln County. Our first item is Mr. Barr.
No,
Oh, no, you're, Carla, I forgot
Consent
the routine.
agenda.
These are consent agenda.
consent agenda.
Oh, consent agenda. Oh, excuse me. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I would so move.
I'll second it,
Motion by Poppins, second by Gibbon. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon.
yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Now we have opportunity for public comment. We don't have any public that want to comment, so we'll move on to the agenda of the Board of Equalization. Carla?
Good afternoon, Commission.
afternoon.
First, I want to thank you and the DOE staff for all of their hard work and dedication to creating the materials for all the boards of equalization this year. Special shout out to Ethan Pieskey, Dave Erdman, Matt Nagel, and Donna Eckley for their additional time. Donna once again maxed out her comp time. Thank you all very much. Takes a team, and Lincoln County should be grateful for the great DOE team. Also want to thank IT for all their technical support, the auditor's office for their minutes and keeping the board informed of all the changes. And last, Commission, I want to thank you. Our first appeal is parcel number 099.51.28.C100. It is under the name of Gerald Barr Trust. It is it actually is an improved property consisting of 24.46 acres. It has a partial parking lot on the property along with the 24.46 acres. The current assessment went out at $177,560. That is a breakdown with the land, $155,570, and the improvements at $21,990. We do show some bare lot sales that happened in Lenox and then surrounding communities that we felt were comparable to the subject property. That's on page 2. Page 3 shows a breakdown per acre. Our subject property is being assessed at $7,259 per acre. The comparable properties are showing a range of their assessment between $18,287 and $65,000 per acre. And the market is indicating a market value of $22,330 and $100,746 per acre. This was a direct-to-county appeal, so it was not heard during local boards of equalization. The assessors are recommending no change. We feel the value is within the market. On the last page, you can see where the subject property is located in red, and then the comparable properties are one in Lenox, we have one in Canton, and the one in rural Lincoln County. With that, I will stand by for any questions, as long as my voice holds up.
It sounds questionable, Carla. Do we have any questions for our Director of Equalization? If not, I'll ask for the appellant to come up, give his name and address, please.
Gerald Barr,
813 East Silver Pond Place, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 5708.
What you got for us,
Tell
Jerry?
me what you got.
Well,
Give us a story. Come
Boy,
on, come
I
with
tell you,
something.
that was a great selling feature you gave me on my property. I commend you for that. You know, I've been here 3 years in a row. I don't know when this is gonna end. This is ridiculous. If you want the land, I've offered to give it to you. And if you want it for half price of what you think it's worth, you can have it. So, that little snippet about, I got parking lot on this part and that part, I mean, it's a little snippet going across there, a piece of concrete. There's no improvements. It's junk. I wish I didn't have it. 2 years ago, we agreed that it was worth 50,000, then last year, we sat down and said, okay, it's worth 100. You guys are tired of seeing me, I'm tired of driving down here. I mean, let's get something put together and agree on it, and, I don't sit here and complain about all the other properties I own, and I'm talking about a $200,000 piece, but I want to pay my fair share, but I don't want to pay any more than than I should be. So, if there is no way on God's green earth that place is worth 200,000. But like I said, I own a lot of land around or not a lot, but a fair amount. I don't complain about it, but I'm not gonna pay pay taxes on $200,000 for something that isn't worth anything.
Jerry, do you know, has that been floodplain established or anything?
Yeah, show the floodplain on there. Show that view of, it's been dry for the last 2 years, so.
How much space does where you do able to park something, how much, is that a quarter acre there?
Yeah, less than an acre.
Is it half an acre, do you think?
Probably, it might be, it's not an acre. I
No.
can tell you that. You know what? Yeah, it's probably a
Sure.
quarter of an acre.
Yep. Commissioner Gibbon?
Jerry, this is Commissioner Gibbon. Did you do any improvements on it when it was raised from 50,000 to 100,000? That it went up that much?
No, we haven't done anything to it. We haven't touched that property in really, we dumped some dirt out there, but it's so soft you can't park anything out there. And then, I was afraid that, I don't know where it becomes wetlands, so. I don't,
Well, I go by
Well,
it
how
every
would you
day.
feel if we,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
how would you feel if we reverted it back to 50,000?
I'd be completely happy with that.
Jerry, I was just looking at half an acre there, and that's probably what it should get based on, which is maybe where it got, oh, hi, Carla.
So I don't know if you can see that, I just drew out just where
let me
the
get that.
parking, just the parking lot sits on an acre,
That's not paved. There is a little bit of pavement on that,
but that's not paved.
Oh, okay, that is, okay, I apologize.
So then if you go out to,
But that's not all, I don't think that's all in that, right?
Mr. Chairman, I have a
I
motion
just
to
did this
return the
parking.
property value to $100,000. Jim, Commissioner Gibbon?
Okay, what was the motion?
No.
I
What was
moved,
the
I
motion?
moved to
I don't think it's worth
$100,000.
$100,000.
All right. I think it's worth more than 50, so how about we split in the middle?
Well,
Commissioner Gibbon?
how about 60?
Yes.
I was at
Your
100,
motion
you're
is
at
what?
50.
How did you come out with 100,000?
Just the
Well, I go by, in Jerry's defense, I go by his property every day, and we haven't had any water. But even where he's parking cars right now, there's water that if you get a big rain or you have a wet season, you won't be parking where you're parking stuff.
Yeah,
because
I
that's
put no
a-
value, it's just the 1 acre. And Is that agent in the city or not in the city yet?
Not in the city.
That one's not in the city yet.
The
Commissioners, are you
appellant
gonna
is
take
requesting
the
75.
value off the improvement?
I gotta pull back to that.
I have a
Well, if we
compromise motion.
compromise at 75, we're right back to where we were.
No, we're at 200,000 right now.
I'd put it at 60,000.
Oh, yeah,
Commissioner Poppins.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
We're tossing numbers around.
I'm sure glad you're chairman. You don't get to make a motion right now.
I'm just making a suggestion, okay?
The appellant is requesting 75,000.
Yeah, 75,000.
Whatever we can do, can we lock it in
I
for a
would,
while?
Yeah.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Okay,
no, that's.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, Commissioner Gibbon, if your motion is 75,000, I'll second that.
Yes, my motion will be reverted back to 75,000.
For the total, and we'll break it up. We're gonna break it up.
Correct.
Yep. But what, the buildings, is that just the concrete?
That's just the the concrete. We call them improvements. It's improvement to the land.
Sure. How much concrete is there, Jerry?
What's that?
How much concrete is there?
1 acre.
No, it's not 100. You got 43,000 square feet of concrete out there, Jerry?
I don't think so, no.
measured it.
I'll go measure.
Okay.
I would bet,
We have a measuring tool on Parcel Browser, and I'm just doing that portion.
You gotta click on the ruler on the other side, Carla, next to acres.
We got to vote on the motion, don't we, Mike? Or
We
do
don't
we
have a
to?
motion yet.
You got a motion, Commissioner, oh, you haven't seconded it yet.
We haven't seconded because we gotta break it apart.
Okay.
I can't see that there. Give me a second. Yeah. It's always fun. I'm still good at 75. Commissioner Gibbon, we gotta break out the concrete of it. That breaks out to about $20,000.
Okay?
Put the land at 55. What do you think of that?
That's fine.
All right, that would be my motion.
Land at 20, or the land at 55, the concrete at 20. We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins, a second by Commissioner Gibbon. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes,
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes, motion carries.
thank you, everyone. I
Thanks.
appreciate your time.
Have a good
Yeah.
day.
Sure. Sure. Never mind. Next item, Carla, is Walter, Stephen and Stacy Walter. Carla?
Yes, our next appeal is parcel number 281.73.02.003. It's owned by Stephen and Stacy Walter. It's located at 2705 West Timber Oak Trail in Sioux Falls. It's a single-family home built in 2016. It has 2,053 square feet. It does have a full basement with 1,845 square feet of living area with a walkout, 3 full baths and 1 half bath. It has a attached garage of 1,291 square feet. The assessment went out at $762,354. This was heard at local board. Local board made no change. We do show 5 comparables that we felt were comparable to the subject property. All are in, within the neighborhood of the subject property, and one's just in a neighborhood that is like the subject property. You can see the map here, subject properties in blue, and then our comparables that are within the same area as the subject. Currently, our assessed value on our subject property is $3,700 $371 per square foot. Using the assessed values of our comparables, the comparables are coming in at $368 to $392 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $371 and $442, so it's in the bottom range of both the cost and market approaches to value. The assessors are recommending no change. The property is within the cost and below the market values of the similar properties. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Any questions for Carla on this property? Stephen or Stacy, are you here or are they on the phone?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Steve, will you give your full name and address, please, and then address the commission?
Yeah, it's Stephen Walter. Address is 2705 West Timber Oak Trail in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57108.
Thank you. So state your
Thank you.
appeal, if you would.
Okay. Yeah, originally I did meet with the Board of Equalization on this. I was a little disturbed. I had a pretty good amount of information and a pretty good story to why I think the value is really overstated. I was a little dismayed when I met with the board. It seemed like one person was paying attention, most of them were not. So then kind of that's how we're coming to this point right here. But in 2021, I was paying $8,900 in property taxes. Now in 2024, my property tax bill is roughly about $12,800, which increased 44% over the last 3 years. It increased 26% from last year. I did send a small map. I don't know if you can see that or not, but basically what the map shows is where I live. And my thing, not all homes on Timber Oak Trail are the same. I mean, my home, you would consider that, I think, a normal home, and the home behind me. However, if you go about a block to the east or a block to the south, the houses do get quite a bit larger, a little more grandiose. However, I think we were taxing at higher rates, similar to those houses. I know when I look at my total assessment, it's $762,354. I believe that's $93,000 for the land, $669 on the structure. There is a house about one block from me. It's been for sale for $750,000 for well over a year. It hasn't moved. That house is actually 400 square foot larger than mine, but similar. I think it's a 4-stall garage as well as mine is, but it's just sitting there. I know when I go and I look at the South Dakota Department of Revenue website, it does say that market value is the price that most people would pay for a property that's present condition. And I would be willing to sell my home to anybody on the board that thinks it's worth $762,000. I would sell it today to them right now and be quite happy with it. I believe when I'm looking at my home and my neighbor had his house across the street for sale for a while when it didn't sell, I'd be ecstatic to get $600,000 for my home. So I guess I quite don't know where the 762 came from. There's just no way my house is valued at that. And it's a little bit of a dismay. I mean, I certainly like to stay in the neighborhood, and I like where my kids go to school. Certainly want to pay my fair share. But at these increases in these property tax bills, I mean, I'm going to have to move out of the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Anything else that we should take into consideration, Steve?
Yes. So it did look. I was just looking here 1 second. And that house that I was talking about was 8009 South Red Hill Circle. It's about a block and a half away from my home. Been for sale forever. And I think what I'm really putting most of my stake in is that I'm looking at the price most people would pay. Not I throw a price that a realtor says, hey, you can get that much for your house, and hope for the best, and hopefully in a year sell it. That's just not the case, and there's just no way that my house is $762,354. I'd never be able to sell it for that cost.
Further questions from the board for Steve?
So what do you think the value is of it?
I think, well, if I'm looking at, so I looked at a few different things. I looked at what I thought, that for my understanding is you're supposed to be taxed at 85% of the full market value. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What, if
Or
we
can
can,
be
let's, the state uses a formula in which to base their valuations
Yeah.
taxable to an 85%, which there's multiple things that are used, your current assessment in comparison to what actual sales are, and then a factor's tabulated from the state, and then they use that against your true assessed value to come up with the taxable value. But the objective in principle is 85% of of the value, so.
Yeah. And I've never had a realtor come out and look at my home. I don't plan on selling my home. But from what I paid for it versus what, I mean, if I would get $625,000 for my home, I'd be ecstatic.
These are my recommendations, sir, for this Commissioner Poppins, is to have documentation that gives us more than we think. When we're trying to make a decision on this board, we need to have something to compare it to that's, extremely similar, that gives us a valuation that is different than yours. And then, or the ultimate objective is if one's willing to spend the money to do full-fledged appraisal, independent appraisal, that does carry a tremendous amount of weight with this body. So I'm not sure what the outcome will be this year, but if it's not in your favor, those are the mechanisms I think to come prepared for next year. So.
And my whole thing too is, I don't want to. My whole thing that I'm trying to, I'm a single income family. I'm trying to stay where I'm at. I don't necessarily want to spend additional money, on top of what I'm already having to pay. I understand where you're coming from, but if you look at the house at 8009 South Red Hill Circle, it's been sitting there forever. 400 square foot larger than my home, about a block and a half away. That's kind of where I'm, putting all my cards.
Very good. Mr. Chairman, I'll have a motion if you're ready.
Okay, are we going to show any,
Would you
Commissioner, Gibbon, do you have any comments or questions before Commissioner?
I was just talking out loud, 735,000 this year until he can come up with some real facts and figures next year if he decides to appeal it.
So is your recommendation to stay with the Board of Equalization, or Department of Equalization's valuation?
No, it would be, he's saying that, we're saying that it's worth 762,000. Could we reduce it to 735,000 this year until he comes back in another year or two to?
I would
with the actual
love to,
numbers?
but we really have no information to justify making an adjustment. And these are much more simplistic in that there's true comparisons that goes into the data to come up with these. It's the same formula that's used for all of the similar properties and homes like that. So, and I again encourage individuals or entities to come prepared with, documentation that shows the inconsistency or what is wrong, but, just because we don't think it'll sell is not been the criteria to change this, so.
Well, then I guess I would concur then with our Department of Equalization to leave as is.
Is that your motion?
That would be my motion.
I'll second that
Yes.
motion.
We have a motion second to stay with the equalization's numbers. Christine, please call the roll.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
A very reluctant second on this, because I do think, sir, I looked over your numbers and I do understand what you're facing. And I can only say what Commissioner Poppins has said. You may have to spend a little money to get a private assessor to come in. But don't let that
Down to
deter you from
50%.
that, because I do think that some adjustment is necessary for you. I really do. I think that's a little bit screamingly high, but given what we have in front of us, that I'll vote yea, and Christine, call the roll, please. We already had the
Did,
roll.
you're the last.
So the motion is carried. Sorry. Wish we could have done more. Number
Thank
three, we have Kathleen and Michael Long. Carla, you're going to be able to, how's that voice going to hold out, you know?
I think it's holding up. Parcel number 271.14.07.001, owned by Catherine and Michael Long, is located at 1851 Ethan Street in Harrisburg, South Dakota. It's a single-family home built in 2022, has 2,005 square feet. It does have a full basement with 1,667 square feet of finish in the basement, 3 full baths. It does have an attached garage of 1,390 square feet. The assessment went out at $753,103. The local board did lower it to $633,082. I appealed back the local board's decision. That's why it's being heard for county consideration. We do show 4 comparables, all in Harrisburg, that we felt were similar to the subject. 3 sales occurred in 2023, 1 we pulled from the 22 assessment year. We do want to make note that column 3 has no finish in the basement. Our value per square foot on the subject property is $375. Our costs, so our assessed value on the comparable properties, show an assessment between $294 and $367 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $328 and $396 per square foot. Page 4, you can see where the subject property is located in the western central portion of the map, and the comparable properties are just to the east, all within Harrisburg. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the Director of Equalization on this particular appeal? If not, Mike or Kathleen, are you on the phone? They're not on the phone? Okay, no answer. All right, having not heard from either of them, Commissioners, what do you want to do with this appeal?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to stay with the.
What did the local board assess them at?
Local board, Commissioner Gibbon went to 129.82 on the land, 504,000 on the house, with a total assessed value of $633,082. We have no reason for why they did go to that, and unfortunately, I'm going to move that we stay with the assessor's recommendation values of 129.82 on the land, 624,021 on the house, with a total of 753,103.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second by Commissioner Gibbon. At the number so indicated. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes, motion carries. We have item number 4 on our agenda, which is Nathan and Yesenia Bridgman.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.70.07.036. It's located at 609 Cedar Drive in Harrisburg. It's owned by Nathan and Yesenia Bridgman. It's a single-family home built in 2015 with 1,243 square feet. Does have a full basement, no finish. Also has an attached garage of 875 square feet. The assessment went out at $291,638. The local board made no change. Therefore, the appellant appealed back the local board's decision for county consideration. We do show 5 properties that we feel are similar to the subject property, all of which none of them have lower finish like the subject. Subject property is located in the south central corner of Harrisburg, and we did pull comps in other neighborhoods, but all within Harrisburg. Felt they were very similar neighborhoods. Currently, the assessed value on the subject property is $235 per square foot. The cost range, which is the assessed value, shows a range between $247 and $294 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $286 a square foot and $346 per square foot. Assessors are recommending no change. The assessment is below the cost in the market of comparable properties. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Any questions for our director? Hearing none. Are Nathan or Yesenia on the phone?
Hello, this is Nathan Bridgman from 609 Cedar Drive.
Okay, Nathan, given your name and address, address your appeal to the commission.
Okay, I would just like to share first that my first communication from the local board was that the assessed value had changed. And then apparently they clawed that back and said that, well, it was some sort of error on their part, where they just accidentally said it was changed. And so I want to just mention that I don't think that's right. I mean, if I send in the wrong amount for my property taxes, I can't just say, oh, that was just a mistake. You're going to have to just accept that. Like, I feel like you're holding your citizens to a higher standard than you're holding yourselves, and I don't feel that's all right.
Sir, could I interrupt you? Sorry, the Commissioner
Yeah.
Poppins. Could you clarify that a little bit? Did you receive communication, written communication, or just verbal communication, or what type of communication did you have from them?
So it was an email communication, and what I was told is that she checked the wrong box inside of Beacon, essentially. And so I received the email communication first saying that the assessed value changed. And then I would say a week and a half later, I spent the whole time thinking I was going to have lower property taxes. And a week and a half later, I get a letter in the mail saying that there was no change.
Did the email indicate what the value had been changed to, or just that it had changed?
It just said that it had changed. I mean, I assumed it changed to my proposed valuation. I mean,
They didn't
since it didn't
clarify.
list the number.
Okay. I was hoping actually it had a value on it, but, all right, thank you for that. Sorry for the interruption, but I did want to clarify that.
Yeah, no, you're all right. I get it. And I know that I'm not going to change your minds on that, so I don't want to waste any time on that. But the whole basis for my appeal rests on, I've done some looking into the homes in your system, and it's like there are so many homes that have finished basements that aren't reflected in your system. And so if you have wildly inaccurate data, so my home that doesn't have a finished basement is being compared against homes that do have finished basements. And so, of course, that's going to lead to a higher valuation when you have that inaccurate information. And I can pull up, in 5 minutes, I could pull up a dozen homes that you guys have the wrong information in your system on. And I guess I'm kind of curious. You guys mentioned there's 5 comparables. I'd be curious, and she mentioned that none of them had a finished basement. I'd be curious what those were, and then I'd like to, because I can't see whatever you're looking at right now.
All of the documents were in the agenda packets, and with that email, it told you how to obtain a copy of all
I
this.
never received an email package with an
Can-
agenda.
Sir, we're on limited time and we are trying to help everyone. Can you give me a single home that you think is closest to yours in finish, style, quality, all of that, that may be assessed differently than yours? Obviously, you're looking for
I
something
just-
that's lower.
I'm curious. I never received that email saying, so I don't know.
They're looking for it and we'll get that verified, but right now, we're just trying to help you out at this point. Like I said,
Okay.
if you
I mean,
give.
I'd be curious what the 5 comparables are, and I mean, and like I said, I mean, I can pull up more accurate information on Zillow, and I guess I don't understand why when homes sell, and every time somebody sells a home, they want to use the most accurate information, and there's actually legal ramifications, right, if they advertise their home inaccurately. And so, I mean, you can go on and see that these homes have finished basements, but when I look at them in your system that you use to find out our property valuations, they don't reflect those finished basements. And so my home's being compared against those, and because of that, I can give one example right now, 800 Rosewood Drive. It says it doesn't have a finished basement in your system, but, I mean, I go on to Zillow, and, I mean, it does have a finished basement. I mean, and so, I mean, that's just one example, but,
Sure.
and that particular home is assessed at $13,000 less than my home. The square footage is a little smaller on the main floor, but it does have a finished basement. So you're looking at a 4-bed, 2-bath with a fence, sprinklers. My home doesn't have a fence, doesn't have sprinklers, doesn't have a finished basement, and I'm at $13,000 more than that. Same locations.
And this is part of the reason why the staff does try to get out every so many years to verify whether or not the information we have is accurate. A lot of times not a lot of times, sometimes people will finish a basement or make an improvement without a permit, and we're not aware of it until much later. But again, going back to your property.
Well, I mean, why doesn't the county look at sold homes? Because anytime somebody sells a home, they're putting forth the most accurate information possible. I was a real estate agent for a while. I mean, you can't advertise inaccurate information without potentially getting in a lot of trouble. So I don't know why you wouldn't look at sold homes right after they sell. And I mean, you could update your system and it would be much more accurate as opposed to trying to update every single home in the system every couple of years. Like that just, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe there's a reason for it, but I'm not seeing it or hearing it.
And part of it, and Carla, I know your voice is little, so I'm trying to interpret from the years of sitting and working with you and others on this, we don't look at each home and assess it each time it sells. It's mass appraisal. Similar homes, similar neighborhoods, similar municipalities. Those are the factors that come into why certain homes are valued the way they are. And then it's ultimately there's sales data that's used to solidify that information, but it's not a sales data per home. As soon as the home sells, we don't look at that and go, okay, now that's your new assessment. It doesn't allow us to do that. That's not the proper way of doing mass appraisal for the purpose of county assessments, because it's again.
That's not even what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is updating the information so that it's accurate when homes sell. Because I guarantee I can find you a dozen homes in 10 minutes that have finished basements, and it doesn't reflect that, and then you're comparing my home against those, and so of course the tax base is going to be
We're appraising your home against those that without that, we're not using a valuation of that home with a finished basement if our records do not show it as a finished basement.
Right, but what I'm saying is your records are wrong, and the basement is actually finished, but in your system it's not reflected as being finished. And so that's why it's creating a higher tax base for my home, which has an unfinished basement.
Yeah. Anything else, sir?
And like, well, I mean, like I said, I'd love to see those comparables because you guys.
You
claim
can,
that
actually,
none
you
of them
can
have
right now.
penetration.
There, if you have, you can get on our website for our meeting, and you can see our agenda, and it's all in that agenda right there, sir. If you have not
so
seen it
we're-
any other way.
Well, let's try to wrap this up. Our 10 minutes for each and every application is expired. If he has the ability to look up, the information that we used is all there. It's all very explanatory. So, Commissioners, what action do you want to take on this appeal?
Mr. Chairman, again, I will move to stay with our values recommended by our Department of Equalization. And I will find those again here in a second. Land at 44,885, structure at, am I in the right one? No.
235, 294.
246,753 on the structure for a total of 291,638. That's my motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Commissioner Gibbon, motion by Commissioner Poppins. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. We thank you for your time, Nathan, and do look up the comparables that we have. Number 4 on our agenda is the Sioux Falls Hospital LLC, Specialty Hospital LLC. Do we have a representative here?
You gotta go.
I thought I was on at 1. I've got another appointment.
Yes, this is Chaz Standage.
Is that how it works? I didn't know that.
That's how they wanted it.
That's fine. You're welcome to call me or if this.
What do you want to,
Will
hang
you
on,
provide your phone number? Make
Hey.
sure we have it.
hang on, sir. You want to provide your
Is
home?
this number 5 or number 4?
Number 4.
This
No,
is
we're
number-
on number 5.
Number 5.
Yes,
Specialty
that's what I
hospital.
thought. We're on number 5.
No, number 4, I have in my sheet the Specialty Hospital.
You got an old sheet.
I got this one that she just handed
No,
out.
this, I have number 5 on
It's on
here,
the
the
agenda.
agenda.
Oh,
Which we
okay.
approved.
Okay. Excuse me. I was just going by
Very good.
what I was handed out. So this is number 5, the Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital. Okay.
Our next appeal is parcel number 281.51.05.004. Its ownership is Sioux SF Hospitality LLC. It is a hotel built in 2009. It's located at 5300 South Grand Circle in Sioux Falls. It has approximately 74,982 square feet. It's of good quality. It sits on 3.2 acres. Our total assessment went out at $9,570,122. We do show some sales of properties that have sold that were in, excuse me. In Lincoln and Minnehaha County. Actually, 2 of them in Minnehaha County and 1 in Brookings County. And then we show an assessment equity of a property in Lincoln County. We pulled in a couple comparables for market to show what the market range is for these types of properties. I do want to note that this property did sell in May of 2023 for $6,480,000. The total sale price was over $10 million, but once they deducted the furniture and equipment, it brought the total price down for the real estate of $6,480,000. It was noted on the certificate of real estate value that this was not an open market sale. It wasn't offered to the general public. And this is on page 3. That's a copy of the certificate of value in which the buyer signed Currently, our subject property is assessed at $111 per square foot. The sales are indicating a sales range between $115 and $156 per square foot. Now, mind you, those are in Brookings and Minnehaha County. Our cost comparable, or the assessment equity, was the property that we have in Lincoln County, is showing a cost valuation of $115 per square foot. You can see where the subject property is located in pink, and then our assessment equity is in blue, and then our Minnehaha County comps. The owner did submit a document stating, there's just a lot of information in here. It's not a fee appraisal. It's just a opinion of value by the tax company that is representing the property owner. They did submit that yesterday to the office. I personally not have had time to review it, but I'd be more than happy to, page by page it with the county commission. They do a sales comparison approach. So they do look at, properties that have sold as well as we do. They do give some, I believe, some income information in here. I have not validated any of that information. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Are there any more questions for our director? If not, do we have a spokesperson from the specialty hospital here?
Or it's hospitality, sorry.
Our hospitality?
Yes, this is Chaz Standage.
And would you state that and your address, Chad?
Chaz Standage, and the address for the property is
Your home address, sir.
5300 South Grand.
We would
What
like
was
your
that?
home, we would like your home address.
Oh, our home address. Okay, let me grab that one here. Our company address. It is 1550 East McKellips Road, Suite 123, and that's Mesa, Arizona 85203.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, state
So the main.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the main issue, the assessor did state the property sold for real estate at the $6,480,000 for just the real estate, which was listed on the certificate of real estate value for the $6.4 million. We also supplied some sales on there, five sales of hotels, similar hotels, that came to a value of $6,346,057. So it's pretty similar to what the real estate sold for on that transaction back in May of 2023. The parties were non-related parties that completed that sale. So that's pretty much what we're here for there. The owners are contending that we should go to the sale price at the $6,480,000. And that's what we're requesting. And that's all I had. Quick run through. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the appellant from the commission? Hearing none, what action would the board like to take?
Were there any comparables, Carla, at all?
I'll be honest with you, I really didn't have an opportunity to review their documents They do show, it looks like 4 comparables. It looks like 3 of them are in Minnehaha County, so maybe they're the same as what we're using. I think they're breaking it down by. So our comparable one, they're not using as a comparable. Yeah, I mean, we're using different comparables.
Well, it's hard to find something, isn't there?
If you wanted me to, so one of our comparables is a courtyard in Sioux Falls, which is similar to the subject. Another one is a Spring Hill Suites in Sioux Falls. Then we have a Fairfield Inn and Suites in Sioux Falls. And we also have a Country Inn and Suites. And then we have a Wyndham Suites. So they're pretty similar to the subject property. The subject is a Hilton Inn. So, and they sold in 2023. One of them was in 2022, but 4 were in 2023.
Commissioners, any other information required from the appellant or from our director? If not, we need to make a decision. The time allotted for this one is elapsed.
I can't see enough information that we should change it.
Is your motion then to stay with the assessor's recommendation?
That would be my motion.
I will second that motion.
Have a motion and a second to stay with the assessor's recommendation. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes. Item number 6 on our agenda is the Oak Ridge Estates LLC.
Our
Are
next,
those 2 parcels adjoining each other, right next door, aren't they? Yeah, okay.
so this is, we're hearing this for the second time.
Yes.
Did you want to go through?
We've heard that, but we're trying
Is there
to,
new information?
any new information?
I guess the only new information that I would bring to the board for consideration is that the owner purchased this property with full knowledge. And we're still currently under the sale price of what it was paid for in, I believe it was in 2021. That's the only new information that I would.
Okay. And the information pertained in this is confidential,
That is correct.
correct? Do you have any other questions for Carla? If not, will the appellant come up? AJ, please.
Once again, A.J. Swanson, attorney at law, 27452 482nd Avenue, Canton. I was here a week ago and raised the issue of confidentiality for this item for both parcel 1000 and parcel A006, which are in fact adjoining parcels, although size-wise they're not all that similar. One, A06 is a very small lot, and the other is a 23 or so acre parcel. Now, the information that Carla just told you about the owner buying with full knowledge is something I just related to Carla a few minutes ago, so that she, and that's an honest statement and disclosure. However, this property had changed hands several times over the course of 20 years. There used to be a house that was out there, one house on roughly 40-some acres, 49 acres, I think it is. That had burned down some years ago. I don't know how an underground house burns down, but this one did. And it went through several hands, and no one could come up with a way of getting this property back into some use because of the impediments that the confidential impediments that it faces. Prior to purchase, my client went through considerable effort to try and come up with a resolution of how to move forward with the property, and he did so. Now, he is in process of building a very substantial home on parcels or on two lots that are further to the north. I believe one of them does adjoin A006, which is a little lot stuck on top of 1,000 parcel. Both of those are involved here. I don't think the house is finished yet or fully finished that's being built. At least he hasn't moved in.
Oh, it's not fully finished yet on our record.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, he would know.
it's gonna be a wonderful place, I'm sure of that. But today we're focused on A006 and parcel 1,000. So I first got involved with these two properties back in the very early months of 2023 when the assessment for those lots and other adjoining lots which have the same affliction. Basically, it'd be lots, we're dealing with lot 6 here, lots 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm trying to recall this from memory, which are located further to the east in this so-called development. They had all been assessed at that point, and we challenged all of those assessments in February, I believe, of 2023. And we went to the local review board based on the claim that these properties are, these particular lots are very much inhibited from what we would call normal housing development. I had a number of exchanges, well, I thought it was a number, with Ethan of the assessor's office. And at the course of the local review board hearing, Ethan came back to me with a proposed series of assessments which we agreed to accept. These are the same assessments which we have proposed be applied this year. A006 is assessed at, we've urged at $8,050, and 1,000, parcel 1,000, we've urged be assessed at 119,500. So the assessor has a much more optimistic view of value than we do on this. Nothing has changed really about these two lots since the assessor imposed these values by agreement in 2023. This was not an adjudicated result. This was an offered result, and which we agreed to accept. Now, it is really cumbersome to try and talk about the reason why these two lots are unsuited for housing development, even if, in someone's viewpoint, one could shoehorn a house in on top of the impediments that exist for these lots. it would, my letter that I've handed out, the dated April 15th, quotes, and I had a number of emails and discussions with Dustin Lloyd, who is from the Archaeological Research Center, South Dakota Historical Society. I've quoted him from an email on page 2, and he prepared the map, which is page 3 of my letter. The boundary line that is marked in kind of the kidney-shaped thing that overlaps on lot A006 embraces lot 7 and 8 as well, and then takes in the center section of parcel 1000. That is the marking of an area of concern in the language of the ARC. As you can see on page 3 of the letter, and I wished I had been able to get this to Commissioner Gibbons so that he can see what I'm talking about, but I hope all of you are referencing that very same map. It plunges right through the center of parcel 1000. The west part, or the west 1/3 of parcel 1000 is taken up with a rather substantial and deep lake or pond. Whereas the east half, the east segment of parcel 1000 is an extremely steep and heavily wooded parcel. Now, on the margins of parcel 1000, perhaps one could shoehorn in between these impediments another house, but I quoted to you the language from Dustin Lloyd about how they would advise against trying to value this or as a housing lot, or to encourage any further development of either of these lots. So we're asking only that, and I think when the local review board heard this, they restored it to the values from 2023, but they did do, I think, I don't have the PT 17 or the PT 16, whatever it's called, in my book, but I think they put some average modifier on it that made a slight increase in the assessment. I'm urging that you follow the cautionary language of Dustin Lloyd that I've quoted in my letter, and that we return this to the 2023 values. And I can assure you there is not going to be any housing development for these lots. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Swanson? Mr. Chipman, any questions? If Mr. Poppins, if not, the chair will entertain some action.
Hey, Jay, Swanson, quick question. Has the impediments been measured as to how many square feet they actually encumber of this is 20?
In the, Commissioner Poppins, I don't have it on a square foot basis, but Dustin Lloyd, as quoted in my letter at page 2, gives an estimate of the percentage of the square footage.
Oh, okay.
For parcel 1000, he says the area, or the boundary, the site boundary, which is the area of concern, embraces 20 to 30% of the surface of parcel 1000, and it embraces at least 20% of A006.
Okay.
Do those impediments, they pretty well preclude any actual building, do they not?
Can't do any building on it, you can't landscape it, you can't touch it.
Yeah, it remains in its natural state.
Yes, and the one thing that my client did go ahead and do was remove a rather narrow two-lane, I hate to call it a two-lane, but it was a narrow blacktop that had been laid through lot 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I believe. But that's been rather carefully removed, and they have done what they can to restore a native prairie type.
Commissioners, our 10 minutes are up on this particular parcel. We need to take an action.
This is Commissioner Gibbon. Are you asking to revert back to 2023? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, Commissioner.
I have a question again. Mr. Swanson, refresh my memory, when the gentleman was in to build his house, there was some discussion about the access into all of these properties. Can you refresh my memory? Do you know what he had requested of the county regarding that?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by access, but there is no county road leading
No,
to this.
there was
It's a
an
township.
easement or something through the property, and there was a change in that. What was that change?
Because it was a platted
Yep.
street, we had to vacate the platted street, and we couldn't simply replat it. It was treated as though it were an open right-of-way, which I don't agree with that interpretation, but we went through the process and vacated the street. I don't even remember what the street had a name. I don't recall what it was, but it had a branch that went up to enter the Springdale Township.
There was an agreement, I'm trying to remember, there was something in regard to that he would grant, because he was maintaining the rest of the properties, but actually not having a road to them anymore. But he did not want to eliminate the plats. He wanted to maintain those. Can you speak of that at all? There was something for him for us to vacate it. There had to be an agreement, understanding, because there could be a sale later of a parcel and have to have access to it. Are you familiar? I cannot remember it. All I know is there was discussion of it, and it was dealt with so he could vacate the road.
He was here a lot, and I wasn't always with him, so I'm afraid
Yep.
that might have
Okay.
been.
Mr. Poppins, we need a motion of some kind to move this along, please.
I wish I would have one at the moment.
Okay, don't have
I
it.
am struggling because that would have made a significant impact if there was not access anymore, but I
Well,
remember.
there is no access to the interior of any of these lots.
As you well know, if it's a plat, it's a parcel that could get sold, there has to be access
It's not gonna
somewhere.
be sold.
Yeah, what's that?
It will
Yeah,
not be
I know
sold.
that, but he's,
I mean, the practical matter, it can't be sold.
this one.
Yeah, any of them.
Well, they could be sold as a plat. They have to have access. And I believe, and we're gonna go back and forth on that, but I believe there's some understanding that if in 20, 30 years, if these don't, and then they get sold, there has to be a way of getting in, for us to have vacated that previous, road. But, I don't disagree that this impact is significant, trying to come up for what that change should be. I would probably defer to Mr. Gibbon if he's ready for a motion.
Have a motion, Commissioner Gibbon?
Well, I can't find a solution to this other than to go back and revert to the 2023.
Commissioner Gibbon, how about we go to what the local board had done on it?
That sounds fair enough, yes.
So I would move that we go to what the local board had done, which is $138,302.
Do we have
Is
a
that your motion?
That is my motion.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second that.
We have a motion and a second with the stated amount. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Second item under Oak Ridge Estates LLC, number 7 on our agenda, which is a continuation of what number 6 was all about. Is this a larger parcel?
No,
or-
small,
This is a small lot.
much
Small one.
smaller.
Hold it there. Okay, so
Just
I'm
give
not-
us the rundown on this. I mean, it's unbuildable at all?
Well, there is a driveway that veers past it, but I'm not sure that I don't think that it abuts it.
Yeah, a lot of these don't have access because of that vacate, but that was referring back to, there had to have been something recorded so that they can get access if they ever are sold. So, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but that's what I remember. Because again, any parcel that's, must have access to it at some, in some manner. So.
If it's ever sold.
If it's ever sold,
Yeah.
yes.
can we go back to the,
Is that the parcel that's in green on the screen? Or are you looking at something different?
let's get going, let's go.
We're done.
It's the parcel on
Yeah.
the screen.
Now we
Yep.
got Baker.
Commissioner Gibbon,
No,
yes,
it's
I
all
did pull up the
stipulated.
parcel.
That's all stipulated.
Let's do it 8.
So this,
Chair recommends the 8,000.
So is it buildable?
It isn't buildable. My God.
it's 20%
It's
within.
only, yeah,
the
that's what I'm
boundary.
getting at. It's just 20%. There's still a large portion of it that would be.
Well, I would
I
encourage you
wish
to
I-
read what Dustin Lloyd has said. You know, can we go ahead and pierce that to the project boundary to build a drain field for a septic tank? I mean, if we're gonna encourage residential home development in lots that have these kinds of afflictions
Yeah, they have
that
no-
beset them,
Commissioner Gibbon, do you have a recommendation? Chair's in favor of
I don't.
8,000.
I'm looking at this map and I'm like, I don't have anything yet.
I just think about ideas where you have lots that have probably no access, they can't build on. Somewhere along the line, as Mr. Swanson has said, you want to encourage people from going on some of these places where you don't want homes to be built, so
Accessory land, if additional land, if it was part of a bigger parcel?
Just depends on how big, because our last year is 5,000.
So this is, say, twice
5,000.
this size, say it's twice this size of lot, and this is the other half of the lot. And just give me an idea.
It would be $20,000 an acre.
20,000 acre.
Yeah.
And this parcel is,
It'd be roughly around 32,200.
so AJ's, what I'm toying with is a rationale of accessory land to an other lot. If this wasn't buildable, it's not sellable independently, what would its value be to an adjacent lot?
Well,
Let me,
and
before you, and that gets substantially reduced for those acres.
And that's the very term that was applied to it by the assessor's office in 2023. But
That's what it was in '23.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking in my mind, it's probably the same logic. Now, I'm gonna also give a little bit of a discount, 20%, because of the impingement should come out of that as well. Whoops, went the wrong way. Mr. Chairman, I have a motion of $25,760.
you've heard a motion by Commissioner Poppins, Commissioner Gibbon.
Was that 25075?
Nope, 25760.
Okay, yes, I'll second that.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second at $25,760. Kristen, do you want to call the roll on the motion, please?
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
A reluctant yes.
Thank you.
I don't know what we've accomplished, but we now have item number 8, Baker Crossing LLC, and we have those 8, 9, 10, 11,
Mr. Chair?
12. Yes.
Would you mind if we, since those are stipulated, we don't have anybody calling in or any, oh, you?
You have.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I was gonna try to bring you forward if you were one of the other parties first, so.
Hopefully very
so, Very good. Thank you.
Okay, Carla?
We do have an agreement between the appellant and the Director of Equalization Office on parcel number 100.59.29.4030.
50. 100.50.
100.50.2.
Sorry.
All of them are 100.50.
How do you want to do you want to do them in order of this?
Can we do them, can we name them all and then do them all in one
Just-
lump sum?
Would you just give us the stipulation, and we'll motion on the,
Read the parcel,
Yeah.
tell me the land value and the other value, and then motion on each one.
One
Okay.
motion and we'll carry it.
So 100.50.29.4030. The land value is going from 1,269,121 to 881,262. The improvement value is going from 945,309 to 933,551. The total stipulated value is 1,814,813. Our next appeal is parcel number 100.59.29.D100.
Carla, you keep saying 59, it's 50.
50, sorry. 100.50.29.D100. A land value from $7,950 to $4,770 for a total value of $4,770. Our next appeal is 100.50.29.510. The land value is going from $13,830 to $8,298. The structure value is going from $73,393 to $60,623 for a total stipulated value of $68,921. Our next appeal is parcel number 100.50.29.511. The land value is going from $11,475 to $6,885. The structure value is going from $859,817 to $742,035 for a total stipulated value of $748,920. Our next appeal is parcel number 100.50.32.1010. The land value is going from $710,899 to $426,540. The structure value is going from $429,909 to $424,375 for a total stipulated value of $850,915.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion to accept the 5 stipulated values just presented.
Do we have a second, Commissioner Gibbon?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to accept the renegotiated by our Director of Equalization on Baker Crossing. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is number 13, South Dakota Future Christian Athletes.
This appellant was originally in the audience and had to leave. They were concerned that we put all of the times at 1 o'clock and their schedule didn't allow for them to wait. They are available until,
2:30, which is right now, so they unfortunately missed that.
We wouldn't be able to call him anyway.
I do have a number for him, but good try.
You can't call him.
We've got given out.
What were his numbers?
Well, he can have an option come back because still have 1 or 2 for what day is that, the 30th?
30th.
We
We'll have
can
to
do
put
it
him
on the 30th. Okay. Next item is Jack and Sharon Smith.
They went home, I sent them home.
We sent them home, okay? All right,
is that the 30th as well?
Have to,
that would be the 30th, so we'll move the Fellowship of Christian Athletes to the 30th, and Jack and Sharon Smith as well.
And poet.
And now we have Poet
And
to the
Poet.
30th,
And to the 30th.
because Mike has a conflict, so,
Commissioner Gibbon, do you have a conflict with Poet?
who's on?
Commissioner Gibbon, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a conflict at all with Poet out of Hudson?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So they are on the phone. They are on.
They're on.
They're on Zoom meeting.
So we'll have, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, this is Derek Durton on behalf of Poet.
Hi, Derek. This is Commissioner Poppins. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Great news. You get to call us back or come on the 30th.
Derek, just an explanation.
No,
We only
I-
have 3 people here. Commissioner Poppins has a conflict, which negates our ability to take your appeal. So on the 30th, we will have you scheduled for
We have the meetings that start at 9 o'clock, so
let's just say that we'll have you on at 9 o'clock, like the first item on the agenda. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I have conflict, but I'll move it. So I will work.
Okay,
Okay, we appreciate that.
thank you.
Thank you,
No,
sir.
not a problem. I completely
Yep.
understand.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recess.
We have a motion to recess the Board of Equalization. Commissioner Gibbon, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to recess until the 30th. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are in recess.